Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Salina Ramos from Section 3 Eco. Make a reaction about this law. Republic Act 10707. Section 1. Grant of provision. The trial court shall upon receipt of application filed suspend the execution of the sentence imposed and the judgment. This notwithstanding, the accused shall lose the benefit if provision should he seek a review of modified decision, which already imposes a provisionable penalty. Provision may be granted whether the sentence imposes term of imprisonment or a fine only. The filing of the application shall be deemed a waiver of the right to the appeal, and order granting provision shall not be appealable. Section 2. Disqualified offenders. The benefits of this degree shall not be extended to those. A sentence must be maximum term of imprisonment of more than 6 years. Convicted of any crime against the national security who have been once provisioned under the provision of this decree, and who are already serving sentence at the time the substantive provision of this decree become applicable pursuant to Section 33 thereof. Section 3. Termination of provision. The final discharge of the provisioner shall operate to restore him all civil rights, lost or suspended as a result of this conviction, and to totally extinguish his criminal liability as to the offense for which provision was granted. The provisioner and the provision officer shall each be furnished with a copy such order. Section 4. Miscellaneous powers of regional, provincial, and city provision officers shall have the authority within their territorial jurisdiction to administer oaths and acknowledge and to take deposition in connection with their duties and function under this decree. They shall have respect to provisioner under their care the powers of a police officer. They shall be considered as person and authority. Section 5. Field assistant subordinate shall be assisted by such field assistant and subordinate personnel as may be necessary to enable them to carry out their duties effectively. Section 6. Volunteer provision assistant to assist the chief provision and parole officer and the supervised treating program of the provisioners. The provision administrator may appoint citizens of good repute and probity who have the willingness, aptitude, capability to act volunteer assistant. There shall be reasonable number of volunteers provision assistant and very regional. Provincial and city provision office and order strengthen the functional relationship of volunteer provision assistant and the provision administrator. The latter shall encourage and support the former to organize themselves and the national, regional, provincial, and the city levels for effective utilization, coordination, and sustainability of the volunteer program. Section 7. Separability clause. If any provision of this act is declared invalid, the provision did not affect such declaration shall remain in full force or effect. Section 8. Repealing clause. All laws, executive order, administrative orders, rules and regulation or parts thereof which are inconsistent with this act are hereby amended, repealed, or modified accordingly. Section 9. Appropriation clause. The amount necessary to carry out the provision of this act shall be included in the General Appropriations Act of the years following its enactment into law. Section 10. Implementing rules and regulation, wherein 60 days from the approval of this act, the Department of Justice shall promulgate such rules and regulation as may be necessary to carry out the provision of this act. Section 11. Effectively, this act take effect immediately after its publication in the official gazette or and 2 newspaper of general circulation.